A long time ago, a friend of mine asked me to loan him some money. I did so. When the time came to pay me back, he just didn't have the funds. Now, I knew what he did for a living, so I asked what he would charge to do some specific improvements to my home. He gave me the amount, and it was about what I had loaned him. So I asked if he would just go ahead and do that work. He decided not to. When I asked why, he said it's because he could be doing work for someone who was paying him.
What?
I don't think he understood the concept of equivalence, even after I tried to explain it. Now, I had another friend not long after who borrowed some money from me, and again, this is a lesson I learned. When the time came to pay me back, he did not have the funds. However, I knew what he did also, and asked if he would do some work for me in my business along the lines of his expertise. He told me what he would typically charge. We did the calculations. It took him nearly a year to do the work that paid me back, but he did it gladly because he understood the concept of equivalence. Let me show you what it has to do with your real estate transaction. Hi, it's Stuart Sutton at Agent Finder, where we use a combination of artificial intelligence and human expertise, that's common sense, in order to identify the best real estate agents for your specific home so that you can make more money and sell in a shorter amount of time. Our service is absolutely guaranteed. See more at agentfinderfacts.com. I'm going to talk to you today about equivalence. So whether you're a buyer or seller, closing costs can be negotiated in contract. If you're a home seller and you receive an offer on your home and it has that dreaded field completed in the contract that asks you to pay buyer closing costs, you just look at it and go, oh my. Well, you really shouldn't. I've had many sellers over the years say, well, if we have to pay buyer closing costs, we're just not going to do that. I know they asked, but we're not going to do it. They can pay their own closing costs. Well, think about it. If you go to the bank with 100 $1 bills and you deposit those, what will the bank credit you in your account? $100. If you take a $100 bill to the bank and deposit it, what will your bank credit you in your account? $100, because they're equivalent. And that is the case with offers with closing costs. Let's think about this. You put your home in the market for $695, have some discussions. You'd probably be willing to sell for $680,000, $685,000. That's kind of what you expect based on what's going on in the market. So all that sounds great. So someone brings you an offer for $695,000 and asks you to pay $9,500 of their closing costs. Well, you can say, well, no, I'm not going to pay closing costs for a buyer. Well, you can look at the figures in the equivalence. So if you do a side-by-side comparison, that's about the same as if someone had offered you $685,000. As a matter of fact, it's $87 more. So an offer for $695,000 with $9,500 in closing costs is about the same as an offer for $685,000, which you've already discussed would be acceptable to you. So, do you take the equivalent offer or do you look for another one? Well, if the buyer's qualified, and this is simply a negotiation term, there's no reason not to take the equivalent offer of $685,000. Because when you go to closing and the title company sends your money, they're going to send you the same amount with either of those offers, and it'll end up in your bank account just the same. I hope that makes sense. Now, the only issue that you want to concern yourself with, and it's really not a big concern, your real estate agent will understand or should understand, is the real estate appraisal. So if you're asking $695,000 and the buyer wants to add closing costs to that because they want to offer you full price, they might offer you $705,000 and ask you to pay those closing costs. Well, the appraiser might look at it and consider the fact that that price was pushed up, and $695,000 was where the asking price was. Now, asking prices aren't always right on the nose or at the very top end. Sometimes they are, but typically there's a few percentage leeway, and the appraiser will take that into consideration. I've literally never seen a problem because of closing costs. I've seen houses not appraised, no doubt about it, but not because of closing costs. So that's one thing you'll want to talk about with your agent. Hey, will we have an appraisal issue if the price is increased because of closing costs? If not, then there's no reason not to proceed with an equivalent offer. I hope the concept of equivalent is making sense to you much more than it did my first friend who borrowed money from me. Me! Again, $101 bills, the same as a $100 bill. An offer for $695 with $9,500 closing costs, the same as an offer for $685. The concept of equivalence makes sense in just about any area of finance. I did put another video up here for you. This one has to do with the buyer's loan type. Sometimes government loans, VA, FHA, things like that are used, and some sellers have concerns about that. I'm going to show you why you don't need to on this next video. And if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and press the like button, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope to see you on the next video.